Thank you so much for attending my presentation about why Grimmsnarl is the devil. A while ago, I made a video where I described Grimmsnarl as one of the scariest Pokemon ever, which, to be clear, was true. However, in the current VGC format, this Pokemon is doing some heinous things and requires I talk about it again. First, let's look at its stats. It is some fine numbers, but to be honest, they aren't insane. 120 attack is great, but with low speed and defenses, how does it get much done? That's where its ability, Prankster, comes in. This gives all of its status moves +1 priority, allowing it to do a bunch of important stuff before anything else. Prankster lets Grimmsnarl be one of the best supportive Pokemon ever with a litany of options to help its team. Light Screen and Reflect are the best, reducing damage to itself and partners while enabling setup threats. Thunder Wave is extremely frustrating, having your speed and giving your Pokemon a 25% chance to just not move. Honestly, it's a really fun time. Parting Shot drops both of the opponent's attacking stats, slowing their damage down even more while also letting you switch out for momentum. Fake Out gives a partner a free turn, forcing the opponent to flinch. These status moves, coupled with a sneakily powerful Spirit Break, make it tough to take down and let it almost always provide great value. But why is it seeing more play right now? Currently, VGC is in a double restricted format, which means each player now has two ultra powerful legendaries on their team. While this might seem like people would lean further into offense, though, that's not necessarily true. With two of them instead of just one, you don't need to get as much value out of each individual restricted. People often describe Regulation G or single restricted as a quote, protect the king format where everything's centered around one member of your team. This meant that once you lost your broken legendary, your team became much less powerful. But now, a restricted dropping isn't really the end of the world in the same way, you probably do have another. This has led to teams running much more bulk and much less attack, meaning Grimmsnarl has more time than usual to get up to its bullshit. Plus, restricteds love screens getting the opportunity to use their broken ass moves, and now that there's more, you get more reward, it's a win-win. Currently, Grimmsnarl has a kind of obscene amount of usage. At the recent Portland Regionals, for example, it was on about a quarter of all teams and had a strong 50% win rate to boot. Plus, it's versatile. It's most often seen on Miraidon and Calyrex Ice teams, but also got lots of play with Lunala, Calyrex Shadow, Zamazenta, Ho-Oh, and Kyogre. Grimmsnarl right now feels like Incineroar in past formats. It's always going to be at least decent on every single team. It's obvious that Grimmsnarl's annoying. Not only are you dealing way less damage, but it can paralyze your team and stop them from moving. And now that we know what it does, I want to propose an idea. What if I told you that I think Metronome is not completely unreasonable as a fourth move on Grimmsnarl? I know it sounds insane, but hear me out. When I'm using Grimmsnarl, it's often with the express purpose of getting up screens. There's very few scenarios on the teams that I build, which are generally slower, where I don't want to click one, but what if they're already up? Even with damage reduction, Grimm isn't very bulky, and with low speed, clicking Spirit Break isn't that feasible. But Metronome can sort of mitigate this problem. It's a status move, meaning that it gets the Prankster boost and gives it a random move with priority, no matter what it is. I could rip literally anything, even a powerful attack like Play Rough, and my opponent couldn't do much about it. By replacing Spirit Break with Metronome, I'm accepting that I'm high rolling for something crazy, and let me tell you, that's exactly what's been happening. It's story time. About a week ago, I entered a local in-person tournament bringing Metronome Grimmsnarl mostly as a joke. I thought it could be fun, and I wanted to try something new. Whatever. But two things happened that Saturday that made me realize just how powerful it can be. First, my near full health Zamazenta and Grimmsnarl are staring down a lone Raging Bolt. Body Press is doing about 45% to the Electric Giraffe, but since I'm behind screens, it'll be okay, right? Well, not if I get crit, then para, then full para to lose the shield dog. All of a sudden, the game has been flipped on its head. Grimmsnarl without Spirit Break doesn't have a great time against Raging Bolt, even at half health. I have to rely on Metronome. So I click it and get a successful Horn Drill, knocking it out in one hit. What the fuck? Most unbelievable moment of my Pokemon career, and honestly, the reason why I'm making this video. I had to get it out somehow. Yeah, sure, Spirit Break would have also worked, but this means something to me, man. Second, it's game one of a different set, and my opponent has, in all honesty, completely outplayed me. I'm in a spot where their Fluttermane is in position to click Dazzling Gleam and win. One attack and I lose for sure. However, I do have Metronome. The first one gives me Sweet Kiss, landing a confusion into Fluttermane and they hit themselves. The second one gives me Bullet Seed, landing 3 hits and dealing about 30%. Fluttermane hits itself again to bring it below half health. The third one gives me fucking flamethrower in the sun, dropping it to red, where it hits itself again and knocks itself out, allowing me to win the game. I'd go on to win the set 2-0 and eventually place second. This time, Metronome was the only way I was ever winning in that position. I could have just played better and avoided the situation itself, but where's the fun in that? This is where Metronome is the best. The ability to do literally anything is actually terrifying to play against. Sure, it could be a harmless tea time, but there's a world where I pull something insane to win, and that's scary. Every time I clicked Metronome that day, my opponents were filled with fear. I'm basically just enacting psychological torture on them at all times. Have fun! In conclusion, Grimmsnarl is really, really good right now. With a bulkier metagame and teammates that appreciate screens, it's thriving. In addition, Metronome is a funny, if not maybe justifiable option on Grimmsnarl, and let me tell you right now, I'm bringing it to NAIC. It's done me well so far. Thank you so much for watching. Electric Moon Girlfriend is not liable for any losses that may result from using Metronome Grimmsnarl. If you choose to use this move, she cannot be held accountable and pay for your therapy sessions after you court change your opponent both of your screens to lose. Please use this idea at your own risk, and have fun.